Elias was a man haunted by questions he couldn't answer. For years, he had been a devoted member of a secretive cult, one that promised enlightenment but demanded everything in return. Their rituals were shrouded in mystery, their symbols ancient and ominous. But Elias had reached a breaking point. He needed to know the truth, what lay beyond the cult's teachings, beyond the life he had known. One night, after a ceremony that left him more unsettled than ever, Elias made a decision. He packed a small bag, left behind the only world he knew, and headed to the bus station. The cult's leader had warned him. "Are you sure about this, Elias? The road is long and the destination uncertain. Once that choice is made, there is no going back." But Elias didn't care. He was ready to face whatever awaited him. At the station, an old, weathered bus pulled up. The driver gave him a strange, almost knowing smile as Elias boarded. The bus was nearly empty, just a few passengers scattered throughout. Elias chose a seat at the back, near the window, and watched as the city faded into the distance. He didn't know it yet, but this journey would take him far beyond anything he could have imagined. The bus moved steadily along the empty road, its headlights cutting through the growing darkness. Elias sat at the back, his eyes fixed on the passing landscape. The city was far behind now, replaced by endless fields and shadowy trees. Inside the bus, the air felt heavy, almost suffocating. The few passengers seemed lost in their own worlds, their presence more unsettling than comforting. The elderly woman near the front continued her silent prayers, her lips moving rapidly as if pleading with some unseen force. The young man with headphones occasionally chuckled to himself, though no sound escaped his device. And the man in the suit remained perfectly still, his face pale and expressionless, as if he weren't truly alive. Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The driver, too, was unnerving, his eyes locked on the road, his hands gripping the wheel with an unnatural stillness. As the hours passed, the bus showed no signs of stopping. No rest breaks, no stations, just an endless stretch of road. Elias glanced at his watch, then out the window. The landscape hadn't changed. It was as if they were trapped in a loop, moving forward but going nowhere. He thought about the cult leader's warning. The road is long and the destination uncertain. Those words now felt like a prophecy, one he was beginning to regret ignoring. Finally, unable to bear the tension any longer, Elias stood up and walked toward the driver. He needed answers. Why hadn't they stopped? Why did the passengers seem so wrong? But as he approached, his blood ran cold. The driver's face was pale, his eyes wide and unblinking. Elias reached out, his hand trembling, and touched the man's shoulder. The skin was ice cold. The driver had been dead for hours. Before Elias could process what he had discovered, the sound of sirens pierced the silence. Flashing lights appeared in the distance, growing brighter as they approached. The bus slowed to a halt, and within moments it was surrounded by police cars. Officers stepped out, their faces tense and weapons drawn. Elias felt a mix of relief and dread. Help had arrived, but what would they find? The police ordered everyone off the bus. Elias complied, his mind racing as he stepped onto the roadside. The other passengers followed, their movements slow and deliberate. The elderly woman's prayers grew louder, almost frantic. The young man with headphones smirked, as if amused by the chaos. And the man in the suit remained eerily calm, his blank eyes scanning the scene without a hint of emotion. The officers searched the bus, their flashlights cutting through the dim interior. When they reached the driver, one of them froze. "This man's been dead for hours," he said, his voice trembling. "Maybe even longer." Elias stared in disbelief. How was that possible? He had seen the driver smiling, driving, just moments ago. Or had he? The lines between reality and nightmare were blurring, and Elias wasn't sure what to believe anymore. As the police questioned the passengers, Elias noticed something strange. The officers seemed uneasy, as if they too could feel the unnatural energy surrounding the bus. One of them whispered to another, "This doesn't make sense. There's no record of this bus, no schedule, no destination." Elias's heart sank. The cult leader's warning echoed in his mind. Once that choice is made, there is no going back. He had chosen this path, and now he was trapped in a nightmare with no escape.